An old DWRG review. Davison Was Rarely Better by Mike Morris from the 7th of the 7th, 99. Season 21 really did have its ups and downs, didn't it? In here we find a classic like Caves, a horribly bad story in the twin dilemma, some interesting but flawed adventures like Warriors of the Deep, and the mindless violence of Resurrection of the Daleks. Why does Frontios fit in on the list, though? Pretty high up is the simple answer. Whatever your opinion on Bidmead's vision for Doctor Who, his gifts as a scriptwriter are pretty obvious. Frontios' last addition to the Doctor Who canon is radically different from Logopolis and Castrovalva. It's simpler for a kick-off. It's also a more traditional story, including monsters, but not quite as concerned with the complex scientific ideas of the first two. Finally, there's far more structure and coherence to the storytelling. Bidmead's first two stories are rather padded, admittedly with wonderful SF ideas such as TARDISes within TARDISes and the like. Frontios has more coherence, bar the odd divergence with carrying vats of acid and the like. In Castrovalva, Chris Bidmead did a wonderful job of developing the characters of Tegan and Nyssa, not to mention the Doctor. Here his gift for characterization is equally evident, creating three lovely characters in Brazen, Range, and Plantagenet, and giving the TARDIS crew a lot to do. The actors all respond superbly, with the exception of Plantagenet, who is horribly badly portrayed and delivers some of his lines terribly. Could it be that one of them calls himself the Doctor? Springs readily to mind. I like Mark Strickson's brilliantly OTT race memory scenes in particular, although having said that, I can understand why people think it's unforgivably hammy as well, and Peter Davison is simply superb, providing an energetic, charismatic portrayal that is probably only bettered by Caves. I was inspired to watch this again after reading Robert Smith's assertion that the story looks better in black and white. Quite right, I was surprised to note. The sets in Frontios are some of the most unusual to grace Doctor Who, splashed as they are with all that paint and giving every scene lots of contrast in shadow and lighting. On the downside, they're very obviously plastic studio sets. In black and white, the production is far more believable and brilliantly moody and grim. By the way, while I'm on the subject, Image of the Fendar looks better in black and white as well, particularly if you turn the contrast up full. I've now been inspired to rewatch a few other Doctor Who's in monochrome to see what the results are. Black and white or not, the fact that the tractors look ludicrous is sadly undisguisable, and who on earth decided to give the Gravis a nose, for God's sake? That said, the Gravis is beautifully voiced, which adds a little menace, in particular when he taunts Plantagenet in his cell. In fact, the tractors are just one of a fairly extensive list of excellent ideas in Frontios that are only averagely realised, like those polished spherical boulders that are obviously made of plastic. That said, the production still has some memorable and disturbing images, not least the sight of Captain Revere enslaved to a machine, and the shocking reappearance of the TARDIS. In short, Frontios is a well-constructed, workmanlike story, elevated by its incidental touches to a memorable status. The script boasts a lot of wit. Failure-proof technology that failed, inoffensive chicken, fallout events, and the like, and the destruction and reassembly of the TARDIS adds another dimension. It's just struck me that Chris Bidmead seems to be obsessed with the bloody thing. The main negative elements are the tractors themselves and some incidental music that is unusual at first, but bloody irritating by the time we reach episode 3. Oh, and while I'm at the right-wing subtext, comparing the leaderless retrogrades of the mindlessness of the tractors when the Gravis is disabled disturbs me a bit. It's unusual for Doctor Who to be as openly authoritarian as in Brazen's "It's not easy living inside the system" speech. But I suppose Doctor Who is about stories, not politics, and the bottom line is that Frontios is a very good story, recommended, and don't forget to try it in black and white.